guys? It's Ryan from Roll the Hit, and in today's episode we're going to talk about dinosaur racing in Port Nyanzaru. Now this is something I said I was going to touch on in an earlier video. I just want to spend a few minutes kind of unpacking the dinosaur racing segment of the Tomb of Annihilation adventure. You can go all in on dinosaur racing, I think, as a dungeon master if your group wants to, and it's probably spend an entire session, gaming session, just on dinosaur racing. There's a lot that you can do if you're interested in it. It's pretty technical, in my opinion, and it's a bit tedious to keep up with everything as a dungeon master. So you're going to have a lot of to do if you're going to run the dinosaur race like it is in the book. I'll tell you, we'll talk about that, what it's like in the book, and then I'll tell you kind of what I did, because a couple of guys in my group wanted to do the dinosaur race. A couple of folks were lukewarm about it, and so I didn't want to spend all of the time that it was going to take just to kind of go through the text of the book, Dinosaur Race. So I fast forwarded it, and I'll tell you what I did to do that. So let's jump into some dinosaur racing at Port Nyanzaru in Tomb of Annihilation. All right, folks, here is the online version of Tomb of Annihilation. This is the section in chapter 1 under dinosaur racing. You'll find that it's at the very end under the things to do kind of section. Obviously, a lot of thought was put into the dinosaur racing piece, and so I want to give it its due. But I'll point out a couple of things that I kind of uncovered as I was prepping for the potential of the dinosaur race that led me to just say, okay, I'll kind of feel out the group and see how this goes, and if they're not feeling the whole thing, if they don't want to put all the chips in to dinosaur racing, then we'll just kind of fast forward some of it. So it's a cool way for the groups to make money. They can bet on dinosaur racing. And you can see that's it here in the book. That's kind of the first thing that they serve up for you is the betting. Okay, but I think let's take a step back. This paragraph here, I think, is important. It talks about four-legged race, a two-legged dinosaur race, and the unchained race. So there are three potential races that can be run here at the Port Nyanzaru dinosaur racing track. Four-legged, two-legged, unchained. That's already three different things to keep up with, because all three of them are a little bit different. So you say, great, where is the chart that shows me the four-legged dinosaurs, the two-legged dinosaurs, and then of course everything, both of those would be in the unchained race, but where is it at? So let's go, here we are, racing dinosaurs. We're right here at it. As I look at the chart, I'm missing which one of these is four-legged and which one of these is two-legged. I see what they are, the speed, there's skill checks, there's AC, hit points, attack damage, constitution. I happen to know that Triceratops are two-legged. I think we all probably know that. I happen to know that, Triceratops. Tyrannosaurus is two-legged. I happen to know that Triceratops is four-legged. Allosaurus, I think, is two-legged. Deinonychus, I think, is two-legged. Dimetrodon, not sure, maybe four. Hadrosaur, you get my point. So let's go back to that paragraph. Here we are, dominated by Ankylosauruses and Triceratopses. The four-legged races are, but Dimetrodons have also done well. So there's three species of dinosaur here that are four-legged: Ankylosaurus, Triceratops, Dimetrodon. Ankylosaurus isn't listed. Okay, again, I see this other category, so I guess Ankylosaurus goes into the other category for some reason. Triceratops and Dimetrodon they are here and here. So I guess those are your four-legged races. So you, as a dungeon master, you're already having to take down some notes. Four-legged dinosaurs are these. I guess what's left over are going to be the two-legged dinosaurs. We can go back to this and verify. Most of those are Hadrosauruses and Deinonychuses. It's a mouthful. Deinonychus, and Hadrosaurus. But I guess Allosauruses are also two-legged. I'm pretty sure they are, but it doesn't say it specifically. You can see my point. I've already kind of belabored it a bit too much as it is. You're already having to kind of figure out where these things go. And it matters because four-legged dinosaur races are separate from the two-legged races, unless you just do the Unchained. Now here's the other complication. To race, the track is an arbitrary 300-foot track. It's not really 300 feet. What you're trying to do is aggregate victories, which are shown by this distance in the first half of this column. So victories get you this many feet of movement. A victory is the successful animal handling check. So a D20 with animal handling against this DC. So if the dinosaur that is racing is a young Triceratops, and you roll your D20 and you roll a 18 on your successful animal handling check, you've succeeded because against the 14 DC, you jot down that this Triceratops covered 50 feet. So if you roll 6 successful animal handling checks for this Triceratops in a row, you've reached the 300 feet mark. 50 times 6, 300. And the other competitor didn't, or they failed an animal handling check, or maybe they won all 6, but their dinosaur only goes 40 feet per turn, per check, then you would win the race. Okay, yeah, that's a lot, right? I feel like that's a lot, because I've got like a spreadsheet here that I would have to kind of, and so if it's me rolling a dinosaur or each player is rolling a animal handling check, what is your dinosaur? This is the DC, it's different, the speed is different, the number of rounds are different. And that's just to get through one of the races. And remember, there's the four-legged, the two-legged, and the open. And there's another complication, or I guess nuance, let's put it that way. If you are using a whip to whip the dinosaur into a faster speed, you get to add this speed instead. But animal handling checks made with advantage due to lashing, so you get to make your animal handling check with advantage if you're lashing them. But if you fail it by more than 5, the animal goes berserk and is out of the race. So you go faster, you get to roll with advantage, but if it fails, you're out. So it's a risk. So your young Tyrannosaurus Rex, if you roll 3 times if you're using lashing, and if you fail, but look at it, then the DC is 18, it's high. So you gotta be really, really strong with animal handling to even probably try that. You could see how this could be fun, but you could also see how it could be pretty tedious. I didn't even get into all of the other parts of the stat blocks over here. I think what happens is, if you're doing the open dinosaur racing, the Unchained race, there's a big chance that they start to attack each other. And so then you're almost doing like a combat situation. I think it's down here. Yeah, here we go. In the Unchained event, dinosaurs can attack other dinosaurs if their tallies are within 50 feet. So yet another metric to keep up with. At the end of each round, so you would have to check to see if they're within 50 feet of each other, they can attack. And then the combat stats are there. If the dinosaur has half or fewer of its starting hit points, you've got to make your animal handling checks with disadvantage. So, there's just a lot in here. There's a whole lot in here. And oh, by the way, if you're betting on the dinosaur races, here's your wagers. This is cute. They do have some names of some of the dinosaurs that might be in the race. Again, there's nothing, you just kind of have to remember, this is a two-legged, this is the four-legged, etc. So make sure that they're in the right race. And then the odds are here. This is how you win the bet. You roll one of these dice, you know, a D8, you win on a 2 through 8. Because this big honker is the crowd-pleasing young T-Rex and 7 to 1 odds of winning. So how this works is if you wager 10 gold and you win, you roll a 2 through an 8 on your D8, probably gonna win. You get the 10 gold back plus 10 divided by 7, which I think is 1.2, 1.4, something like that. So 11, you get 11 gold back, or 11 gold and 5 silver, however you want to work it as a dungeon master. On the flip side, if Mountain Thunder, the aging Dimetrodon, wins on a D8, to win you'd have to roll a 1, but if you're doing the 10 gold, you would put your 10 down, you would get your 10, but you'd also get 70 back. So you'd get 10 times 7. So I guess you'd get 80. You get your wager plus your wager times 7. So that's a lot. You could turn from, but obviously the chances of winning that are quite small. So that's kind of fun. And so we did do a little bit more on the gambling side, the betting side, because I could just say, hey, Grung, Stumper, and Banana Candy are in the race, or I would make sure, who do you want to bet on? And then they would, frightened. Oh, right here, Deinonychus with a frightened Chachaki here on that's Jungle Princess. So this was fun. We did do that. I'll tell you what I did. So rather than go through adding all of these kind of animal handling checks against the skill check DC, I just rolled straight D20s, me versus the one person who wanted to race. If their D20 was higher than mine, then their dinosaur got like a check mark in my 2-win box, and I kind of just put, if you beat me 5 times, or if I win 5 times, whoever gets to 5 wins first wins the race, basically. So we rolled competing D20s. He got an 18, I got a 12, so that's 1 for them. He got a 16, I got an 18, that's 1 for me. He got a 12, I got a 1, so that's 2 for him. He got a 8, I got a 3, it's 3 for him. He got a 12, I got a 12 when we roll. He got a 19, I got a 17, that's 4 for him, so he's beating me pretty good. And then the last one, I think he got a natural 20, and I got like a 2 or something. So I'm making all that up, but he won. And that's how fast it went. So none of this skill check DC stuff, none of the adding up the speeds to equal 300 and so forth, just because the group was kind of waiting for this to take place. And they were, we got a patient group. But as a dungeon master, you want to make sure you're reading the room again to kind of see what's the appetite for going all in on this kind of thing. I think everybody wanted to do it. I probably would have, stepped back a bit and said, I'll create a spreadsheet and track all of these guys, their speeds, their skill checks, so forth. I'll do some research on my own. I can obviously Google Allosaurus and discover that it's probably a 2-legged dinosaur, and so forth. You maybe even go out and create other ones using this other category. But that's basically the dinosaur racing piece, and the betting on the dinosaur piece is actually fairly straightforward. The calculation is here, and the win on is here. As you get further down here, like a D3, do you have a D3? No, you don't. You have a D6. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 type of thing. So a D3, you roll your D6, and you would win on a 3, 4, 5, or 6, right? You would lose on a 1 and a 2. Hope that made sense. Just doing that. It's pretty straightforward math there. So it's a D6 divided by 2 to get a D3. Okay, that's it. Leave questions, comments. If I thoroughly confused you, let me know. If it made a little bit more sense, let me know. I'm curious if other dungeon masters tried the dinosaur races, how that went. Was it a whole session, in fact, or am I overthinking it? Was it a lot easier in application with the big group than what I just made it out to be? Let me know, and we'll see you guys next time. In our next video, my group is now leaving Port Nyanzaru and entering the jungle. I'm going to talk about the hex crawl nature of this adventure and what I'm doing to get my wilderness encounter activities. So dehydration checks, are you lost, what's the weather, is it windy, is it hot, is it storming, is there a random wilderness encounter? All of those things, and you're doing them multiple times a day. So it's a hex crawl. I'm going to show you all my spreadsheet that I've been using to kind of track the wilderness adventure as my group has left Port Nyanzaru and they're heading into the jungle. So see you next time.